that's right, I gotta figure this out. Cast expression to assisting. Smart cast too. Assisting is impossible because pose assistant state is a property that has open or custom getter. To assisting is impossible because pose assistant state is a property that has open or custom getter. Pose assistant state. It's an optional. Saying optional. What the hell? It's not gonna help me. Alright, what the hell's the name of that? That is... Don't care about your ad blocking. There's always an exact set of possible subclass. One result. But this is when I'm using an explicit Java 8 optional, or why am I didn't think we could do that unless we were doing the Java 8 stuff. Oh, they're defining their own optional. Yes, no thank you. I don't want to know how to define my own. I want to know how it wants me to deal with the optionality of this type. Common when expression with optional type. It's not helpful. Let's just say we explicitly do this. What happens? Unresolved reference. What is it called? Detection feedback, pose assistant state. Pose assistant state. Should be of type pose assistant state. Optional pose assistant state. Unresolved reference to detection feedback. Does it not have detection feedback? Looks the same. Wasn't a typo? Is this not the way to do this? I thought that... What the? What kind of nonsense? This gives me another idea in terms of the null checking. I really don't want to do an else, because an else is dangerous in terms of exhaustivity. These are all super simple examples. Give me an example. You rely on ads. I'm sure you do. And I rely on not seeing them. Kotlin is operated to check if the program is an instance of specified type. Oh, do I need the equality up? Is that what I've been doing like an idiot? I need to do non-is, where are we? So this be like null. Expression under when is never equal to null. Oh my goodness, Kotlin when expression with sealed class. That's great. That's not an interesting sealed class. It's just a stupid enum. Difference between sealed class and an enum. Yes, I know the difference. Why is everything so half complete? Kotlin when expression sealed class containing associated data. Log Rocket, are you gonna got me? You gonna get it? You gonna bring it? You gonna bring the goods? Or are you gonna short me? Oh, we're looking at something here. Sealed class menu, data class, pizza, burger, chicken. This is looking promising. I like the nesting of this from a naming standpoint too. Using sealed classes in the when expression. Or a restaurant. Are you kidding? Oh no, I was gonna say. Menu.quantity. Yeah, see, they just access it though. That's what makes me think it's like the optionality of it is screwing it up somehow. But maybe I screwed it up in my... Let's do class pose assistant state. I guess we'll do this and then get rid of this sealed interface. And we'll make this a sealed class. And then I guess I don't have to specify that because it's part of it. Data class. Oh no, they still do. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, but now I can say, now I should be able to say, pose assistant state dot starting, and down here I can do pose assistant state dot starting. And I can do pose assistant state dot assisting, and pose assistant state verifying consistency, and then still got this weirdness going on here. Let's go back to this. We got val whatever. Let's go look at their when. they're not doing is? Or my is throwing this whole thing off? Classifying assisting does not have a companion object and thus must be initialized here. What? Classifier assisting does not have a companion object and thus must be initialized. Okay, yeah, because it's not an object. It's not a data object. And theirs, what did they do? They just did data class, name, size, quantity, quantity, size, pieces. And they're all just data classes. So what the hell? What the shenanigans? What the shenanigans? Okay. This makes me feel like my sealed class is still a little wonky. It's either that or... See, this is correct. I've done this like a million times. Like, does not like the mixture of these? Data class must have at least one primary constructor parameter. See, but I'm not... I feel like I've mixed and matched these before as well. Detection feedback. What the heck is going on with this? New detection feedback. That's wrong, because that should be this. That's fine. That shouldn't have been throwing off the other stuff, though. Seems like is_pose is the right thing. We want to know if it's this type. If it's that type. We want to know if it's that type. If it is that type, but we also want to know if this is null. Okay. That seems happy. No, we just want this guy. Okay. We need to figure out this shenanigans though now, because now we should know it's not null. We should have a pose assistant state, which is an optional pose assistant state. Why is it completing val? Pose assistant state detection feedback. Smart casting of this. See, like, that's the thing I don't understand. Cast expression. Why should I have to cast it? It knows. This is what I don't understand. Stupid indent. What the? Control Option I. Let's at least get it building and see that thing. We don't need this on this desktop. Hell, what's it doing? Alright, let's see what we can get going. We get some log action here. Let's filter this to Drew. Let's restart the logging. Alright, let's kick it off. Let's see. Why did we only get pose assistant state null? that makes sense, actually. That makes some sense, actually. Because we're stubbing just that first state. Okay. Well, that's good. We got at least the plumbing setup and the conditionals logic we think is correct for the UI setup. So now we just need to plug in some logic to actually process and generate the states properly. Okay. So right now, before we do that, let's fabricate some other states. So let's put this verifying consistency state here. Let's just try that, and we should see the check mark result when we do it, which will actually transition us to the next phase, because we're not going to be able to break out of that because we're hard coding it. No? Apparently not. Logcat. Still null. Why is it null? It shouldn't be null, should it? What are we doing here? We are creating a position. Oh, what am I doing here? We're taking in the position readiness distributor, the pose readiness distributor. I'm creating a combined distributor, effectively a combined flow that has both of those in it and is mapping to this. But what am I doing with it? What am I doing with it? Okay, well, we'll start simple to actually test this further, because we're going to need to do something. Instead of having this mutable one and doing this more manual flow, we're going to like declare val pose assistant state equals, or just is of type flow of pose assistant state. And we should be able to, import flow, and then we can say pose assistant state equals that. What's wrong with this still? I thought I just said to do it. Yeah, coroutines flow. Okay, what's wrong? Join declaration and assignment. I guess we can for this super simple case, but we don't need to do that. We're gonna have to deal with something a little later. Okay, let's comment that out. Let's rerun this. Now it should be not null. Let's go back to logcat. How did we do distinct on these other ones? Distinct. Common flow, distinct until changed. What does this do? Returns the flow where all subsequent repetitions of the same value are filtered out. Note that any instance of state flow already behaves as distinct until change operator is applied to it. So applying distinct until change to a state flow has no effect. Okay. Distinct until changed. We're getting null, 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 verify, verify, consistency. I'm pretty sure we want distinct until changed. Doesn't make any sense, does that? What the hell? Still, we're not. Got null, verifying consistency. I feel like we might need to do something a little smarter for this distinct. What do we gotta do here? We need to check the types. We need to compare types of two objects. Class, K class, which one is the right one? Is it old dot class? That is K. Let's just do when old is. Expression is unused. result are the same, then we want to filter it. Where's this distinct until changed docs again? Turns flow where all subsequent repetitions of the same value are filtered out when compared with each other via the provided R equivalent function. So that's not optional. I don't have to worry about the null. Okay. What in the world is wrong with this? Oh, the commas are what are wrong with it? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. And we're gonna do something. Okay, so we're gonna be like, when that is gonna be false, when this going to be false. When this is a little more complicated, because then we're going to do the actual. Let's do a old dot detection feedback is equal to new dot detection feedback. And technically, I probably would want to move this logic out of this. There's probably a better way to do this logic, but to test this right now, this should be okay. Because we shouldn't see this. This I don't, unless something else is triggering a build, but the only thing in here that should be triggering a build is, nope, this is not state. This is the only thing. So, unless something else in here triggers a rebuild that I'm unaware of. Okay, well, that seemed to resolve that. Okay, so Can I fabricate one of these other ones? Yeah, let's just do empty frame, I guess. Dude, I need to needs some shuffle action. Let's get some dubstep rocking.
Can you see me breathing? Standing here without you. I can see it's midnight.
All right.
Terrified to see
Things seem to be operating correctly now in terms of the state. Now, we just got to do the hard part. All the plumbing's in place. And the UI logic seems to be correct, as far as I can tell so far. And we now have the plumbing for this thing to make sure that these are distinct, and that seems to be working correctly. At least within this. We haven't been able to fully test this case, but all the other cases seem to be okay. And so now we need to actually make this logic in here. And this logic needs to take in the position, readiness, and the pose readiness. And based on those, plus additional internal managed state, which is unknown yet, we have to define. What the hell is refresh to the latest live edit changes app state? What does that even mean? What's out of date? Oh, the code? I don't need that kind of help. Internal managed state. Okay, so let's just look at. Okay, so we got a pose readiness, which has bones, a frame, and a pose result. The pose result is really the thing we probably care about. Pose result has a detection feedback. Detection feedback is the approved empty frame or incomplete data or failed. Okay. So pose result maps to one of these detection feedbacks. And this detection feedback is this one is detection feedback for the list of pose problems. And detection feedback is going to be approved, empty, incomplete, or multiple people, or failed with a detection failure. The detection failure is going to be the specific detection failure that maps to the UI, okay? And let's look at position readiness. Position readiness, same thing. Okay. Okay, so we gotta map these to our 3 states here of verifying. So we have starting, assisting, and starting, assisting, and verifying consistency. Okay, this we know is kicked off by both the pose readiness and position readiness detection feedback being accepted. Okay. Assisting is anytime we aren't starting or verifying consistency. And starting. Okay, so let's just start getting some logic in here. So let's just say if pose assistant state, no, what am I doing? If position readiness dot detection, wait, what? Didn't I, what was it called? Detection feedback? Oh, position result. Position readiness result dot detection feedback, okay. Back. Result. Detection feedback equals detection feedback dot approved and position readiness, nope, not position, and pose readiness dot result dot detection feedback is approved. Pose, or no, detection feedback dot approved. And we are going to else. Okay, so let's just say if it's approved, we're going to say verifying consistency. If we're not, we're going to say assisting with which one? Okay, we gotta prioritize one or the other. So let's just say if position readiness, position's more important than pose initially. At least we want the user to solve that problem first. So let's say if detection feedback dot, if it's not approved, then we want them to resolve whatever that error is. So we will do pose assistant state assisting with position feedback. Else we will do pose assistant state with pose readiness result detection feedback. Okay. So this makes the pose a secondary concern for resolving. And we'll have no starting. So let's just give this a whirl. Let's give it a whirl. Gonna have to get more complicated for the verifying phase and the starting phase, but this at least should be some of the core logic. Something is weird about that.
Extend your arms out to your side. Spread your feet shoulder width apart. Spread, move to the right.
Okay, position.
Move to the left.
Okay, that's position.
Spread, move the width. Your entire body should be in view. Spread your feet shoulder width apart. Spread your feet shoulder. Extend, move. Spread your feet shoulder width. Spread your feet shoulder. Spread your feet shoulder width apart. Extend your arms out to your spread your feet. Extend your arms out. Extend your arms out to your spread your feet shoulder.
What's wrong with my feet today? Okay, yes, yes, these are looking good. Yes. The verifying consistency. My theory worked there. How did we get... This must have been... What? I don't know how we went null to null. That is strange. Null to something back to null. That doesn't make sense. Maybe one of those was a log from before? I don't know. That seems weird. I don't think it could be a log from before.
Position yourself in front of the camera.
Yeah, calm down. Calm down. We'll calm you down. Okay. 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 Let's see. Okay. Okay, let's... I think ignoring this weird null thing, which we'll have to keep an eye out on and see if we can understand better what's happening there, because that was unexpected. I think this logic is relatively sound. for this piece of the puzzle at least. This verifying consistency thing needs to be flushed out more, because this should technically, this case right here should technically kick off verifying consistency. Let's think about this. So what that means is that should obviously put us in this state, right? And the idea, though, is that we want it to stay in that state. We want the user to stay positioned in that state for 3 seconds. And that 3-second countdown is tied to the animation in the UI, where you see the check mark do that thing. And so if they don't stay in that for that full duration of that thing, it gets aborted, which we just saw, which is what we actually want. And if they do stay in that position for longer than 3 seconds, then it continues on to the next step. So maybe this actually is exactly what we want here. It's just ended up being simpler than I expected it to be. Okay. And that leaves us then with the last piece of this puzzle, which is figuring out this starting thing. And what do we want starting to do? We need something to initialize us into starting, and then we need something to transition us out of starting. Okay. How do we want to deal with this is a fantastic question. Let's just create a private value. Value prevents reassignment, so we probably want a private var of starting. And we can say that's a boolean, and we can say it can initialize it to true. And in here we can say something along the lines of, if starting if we can get a handle on starting, what does this say? If empty, yeah, we know, we know. Let's make this more explicit. Okay, let's just cut this and paste this into this else, because that's what we want. And then we're gonna want to say, if starting, we're going to return pose assist. Whoa, pose assistant. It's getting too excited. Starting. Okay. And let's just test it right now, and it should just always be starting. Let's just see. Let's nuke this log. Let's restart logcat. Let's get our thing going. Okay. Yeah. We're level. What is the starting thing? The starting, that doesn't seem like the right behavior. That's correct. But what's happening in the UI doesn't seem correct. Okay. Where were we before? Before we had, okay. We had a box, the prism pose overlay. Oh, did I get rid of the other stuff? Oh, we're gonna have to look. We're gonna have to go look at like Sublime Merge or something. What did the UI used to look like? Okay, what do we have here? We had this speak initial setup. Oh, that's why. Prism session. Prism session. I mean, we could... Here, let's just do this for right now. My plan was to move that somewhere else, but... Before we move that somewhere else, let's just throw it back into that use case, which is the starting use case. And we'll actually get rid of this conditional. Okay. And let's put it after this. We'll throw a to-do. Move this out of the UI. Make a fist. That's weird. You make a fist. Okay, if we have that there, just for the time being, also make sure that we have when we're assisting, yeah, right now it's here. Okay. And maybe we'll leave it here. I don't know. Okay. So that seems okay. That seems okay. Now. Okay. effect that I want. Kotlin launch effect. Use scope launch. Launched effect. Cancel and relaunch of scaffold stack where state changes. Launched effect made. We'll cancel and restart. Is that what I want? Is this really what I want? Is this value? Is this always null? Oh yeah, that's true. What the hell? What do I really want to do here? Do I really want a launched effect? Do I want the UI to the question is this. Do I want the UI to trigger... Do I really want the UI to trigger any of this? Like this delay thing too. Like I know this is the side affecting... I know this is like the side affecting thing of like... And this time is really based on... What is this time even based on? This time is based on actually wanting to play this sound that we play at the beginning. So it's like, do we... This definitely... Okay, let's remove this for a second. Let's just start minimal. And then we can go from there. Okay, so this launch effect, we don't want starting because we know we're already started. This delay is really coupled to this thing. How long that is has nothing to do with the UI representation. Hey Artwith, how's it going? Doing alright. Just trying to figure out this logic, like how I want to split this up. Pose assistant completed. Let's just try this for right now. We'll try this, but I think still is like the thing that feels bad about this is because we have this speech synthesizer thing being fired based on the building of a UI component. That feels wrong to me. And then well, that technically that's a side effect. It's not no launch effect, which is interesting. But all of this just feels like it should move out, including this delay timer thing. But let's give it a go again, and let's see how it feels, at least with this, and we'll see. Let's clear the logs, restart logcat. All right. Let's see. Alright, we can abort the scan. We don't have to do the scan. It's still going to chime in after it's done with the thing, probably. There we go. Finished. Okay. Need to clear some of these out. But... Okay, so... Oh, we didn't test the other thing. Let's do it again. The logs look alright. Verifying consistency, bad, fail. Yeah, that looks correct. Okay. Well, at least the logs looked all correct. Art with Brenda 5. What are you up to? Okay, what are we gonna do? We need to test whether or not we can come back in and what happens. So, like, let's say we do this. Okay, so we've already done the start. We're checking the starting logic. So we've already done the starting logic. So now the question is if I kill this and go start it again. Well, it still did it again. So that's interesting. Okay, so it works, but that's it works as a side effect of the lifetime of this thing. Because when this thing is constructed, it's holding the state of starting, right? Right here, starting. Which means we don't need this, at least for right now. I don't know if that's good in all scenarios, but it's good in, seems good in that scenario. Okay. Okay. Now the question. The big question. Do we move this and this? Which is what I would like to do. So we need Prism session Because why? What are we doing? Because of the speech synthesizer. So we need Prism session actually, or we need the speech synthesizer inside of here. And technically, I don't know if it's... Because this can happen multiple times. Because we're going to get a new position and pose in here. And we're going to still be starting. And it's going to fire off another starting. And it's only the distinct after it that collapses that down. So it's almost like what we want. What do we want? It's like we want another layer after this, which is also firing off the speech synthesis. So it's like we would want something else here, which is like when we get starting, kick off speech, or kick off starting speech synthesis. And then we'd have another thing that's when we get assisting X, whatever feedback, kick off speech synthesis. And those are the two speech synthesis cases we have. And then we would also want when get starting schedule a 3-second timer to update the starting to false. If we did that here, we wouldn't have to have any of those concerns in the UI. Still need, yeah, and then this is not affecting at all. Okay. So, but what do I want to do that is the question. What do I want to make do that? And so this thing is... The only weird piece about this is this starting state thing, which has to be owned by this. So whatever this layer is that's observing this also needs to be able to reach back and meet and affect it, which is what the UI is currently doing with that launched effect thing anyways. I don't think there's any escaping that. So the weird part about this is it's just another layer to this, but it's, maybe we can do it in the same thing. It just feels, I don't know, how do I want to do this is the question. It's like, yeah. I mean, we should just be able to, okay, let's just do something and then we'll worry about cleaning it up. So we're going to say that whatever this is this pose assistant state, is this entire thing, okay? So not only are we going to construct that and create that thing, but we're also going to say that this pose assistant state dot collect. So we're gonna have to do where's a good example of this? Here, we got this. We just need to do a coroutine dispatcher thing. Yes. Yeah. And this is in here though. Okay, so we're gonna do a coroutine with the dispatcher, which we have defined. Yeah, I have main defined as the default. And we're not going to do that. We're instead going to do this with a collect. And we are going to, we're not checking that. I guess we could do a when on it. No, not square brackets, curly brackets. And expression is unused. I don't know what that means, but starting, I need to do a thing. Is pose assistant assisting. We're going to do another thing, and when it is pose assistant state dot verifying content, we're going to do another thing. Okay, now why in the world do we have some weird indentation going on is the question. Okay. And this can go because we're done with that for right now. So we're going to say both of these happen in kickoff. This guy happens in here. Okay, and for right now, that means we need to pass in the speech synthesizer. In addition to these two things, we need a private val speech synthesizer. I think we're gonna need that, and then down here where we do the remember of it, we can pass in Prism session speech synthesizer. No? We need speech synthesizer interface. Okay. Okay. Should make it happy. Okay. This should allow us to take and let's move this. Actually, let's move both of these. We're gonna get rid of that. Gonna move it down into this. So we're gonna have speech synthesizer. Oh no, are you kidding me? We can't get to this? Composable invocations can only happen from R string Kotlin get localized string outside of Jetpack compose. We need context. Of course, I should have known we need context. The infamous context. Resources. Okay, let's comment this out right now. Let's pass context into this also. Okay, let's just give it a whirl.
Spawn for the remainder of the body map. Make a pose with your feet shoulder width apart and your arms extended out to your side. Make a fist.
All right, we're getting there. The audio is not getting cut off, which is cool because it's not tied to a rebuild. Yeah. Yeah. Let's move this one out while we're here as well. This is the it dot detection feedback dot localized voice context. Okay. That's good. And then this is a no-op. Let's just say no-op. Okay. Not only do we need to kick off a timer. So we need to Kotlin timer. How does let's see. We're very close. We are very close. What is this? We got a Kotlin concurrent timer. What is this? Kotlin concurrent. Creates a timer that executes the specified action periodically, starting after the specified initial delay expressed in milliseconds, and with the interval of period milliseconds between the end of the previous task and the start of the new task. Okay, can I do just a one-time easily? Let's see. What is this really what I want? Daemon? A timer task? What is this? Just a function that returns a unit? Timer, string, name, daemon, false, default, false, null, false, initial delay, 0, period, with the interval of period, milliseconds between each. I don't want it to redo it. I don't want that variant either. A delay? Maybe Kotlin delay. Coroutine. What do we got? Coroutine? Think of suspend functions as a way of use a function that takes a callback but doesn't require you to pass the callback in. Any blocking code in suspend function should be wrapped in something that backgrounds it, like with context, suspend cancellation routine. Can I use, does it make sense? We're in a routine. If I, maybe, if I delay here 3 times 1000, should be 3 seconds, we can import Kotlin coroutines delay. I don't know what duration. Sure, what's the difference between calling coroutines time? Java time duration. Whatever. time in milliseconds. That should be fine. If we delay, what is that going to do? It's going to delay this coroutine. But if we got something, let's say we got something else from pose assistant state, what happens? That's the weird part about using a delay like this. I mean, it might work, it just seems not quite right. We probably, I don't know, let's give it a whirl, but I think that's not the right thing. Yeah, I did 3,000 milliseconds. It's been longer than 3,000 milliseconds. We're still stuck in starting. Oh. Duh. Duh. I didn't finish it. We need to, yeah. We need to, completed starting. Let's try this again. It's just weird because this delay thing seems like it would work, but it's not exactly. There's possibilities of weirdness, I feel like. Seconds is not long enough. 3.5. Wants a long integer. 3,500. It's cutting off the voice. Extend it out here. Extend it out here. Extend it out here.
Extend your arms out by your side and make a fist. Extend your arms out by your side and make lower right arm slowly. Extend your arms out by your side and make a fist. Extend, move to the left. Position yourself in front of the
Okay.
Position yourself in front of the camera.
However, it does need to be aware of the dispatcher of the pose assistant state dispatcher. Does need to be aware of the pose assistant state dispatcher and other effects. Then this allows us to keep the rebuilds in the UI. Keep the component relatively strictly responsible for the view. Maybe we shouldn't even do that. Maybe this should be part of this. We just need to rename this. Or maybe the pose distributor. this up a tiny bit. We're just gonna say this is I don't know what I want to do with that. Okay. This is let's just extract that into a separate file. That maybe two separate files. New Kotlin class file. We'll just call it pose assistant state. This is a sealed class representing the various states of the pose assistant. New Kotlin file pose assistant getting there. It's getting cleaned up. Alright, there's still something that feels wrong architecturally about all of this, which is this component from a UI testing standpoint. From a UI testing standpoint, this component ideally wouldn't take Prism session. Ideally, this component would take just the state value. It would take just the pose assistant state. But we can leave that for a separate exercise. Let's give this a test now that we've extracted this all out. Make sure things are still happy and hunky-dory. Reset this, reset that. Okay. What did you say? How did we... Oh, we modified... Yeah, that makes sense. Just looks weird because we don't have the modified prefix, I guess. Okay. So this... Type. That looks correct. Okay. That's that. This we need to document. You got the persistent state flow, but we need to add a comment to that explaining it. Okay. Distributor of pose assistant state. This class facilitates taking in state information from the position distributor readiness distributor and pose readiness distributor and mapping them down to pose assistant to a flow of pose assistant state. A flow of distinct poses. Distinct pose assistant state. Beyond that, it also reacts to the distinct pose assistant state. Let's separate that. Beyond that, it reacts to the distinct pose assistant state and manages timing of the starting phase. Starting state, pose assistant state starting, as well as manages the plays the as well as triggers speech synthesis. Speech synthesizer. Synthesizer to play various speech in response to the pose assistant state. What happens if we try to get smart and do this is just speech and this is just timer management. it again. Okay. Make sure that's working as expected. Let's delete, restart that. Timing of the assistant state starting phase. Synthesizer. Alright, now that we got that cleaned up a little bit more, let's go to our pose assistant. Let's see if we can normalize or clean up any of this anymore. We have this box thing going on. Fill max size center box, fill max size z index 0. Then we have our prism pose overlay. Here we have exactly the same box structure and our pose overlay, but we have this thing injected inside of it here, which is another box that has the prism banner. So this part is the part that is different. And then in this scenario, we have the same box structure here, the same box structure here, the same pose overlay here. And then we have, instead of that box, we have this other box with a different z index. And then in this case, we have it with nothing again. So it's really like we want to build a component to facilitate that structure so we can pass in this other box is what we want. And that is what we want to create. So we need another composable function. Composable function. Kotlin composable function that takes a composable as an argument. How to pass children into Jetpack Compose to customize. How to pass children into Jetpack Compose to customize to a custom composable. Pass in composables to a custom composable block, which is then rendered in this definition of our arc function. After looking at implementation of the row script. Okay, let's just give this a go. Okay. So, it looks promising enough. Okay, so let's say we've got a function which is our pose, let's just call it pose box structure. I don't know what we're gonna, how do I keep doing that today? Can't, composable. Okay, so we got this pose box structure, which is literally going to be this. And then it's got modifier max. Modifier is going to be this. Okay, so we're going to have modifier. Wait, what did I have? What the hell just put? Oh, I'm changing the wrong thing. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, we don't want that down here. I want this in here. I'm just being an idiot. Okay. Modifier. Cool. Now we got this thing, and now we need Prism session as well. Prism session. Prism session. Okay. And then this is it. Where is it? It's underneath that box. So it's underneath this box. So it's right here is where we want to render this nonsense. And apparently we can do something like this. Android content, and then we can do content. Execute content. And that should allow me to where's box structure, Prism session, and then we should be able to leave that empty, I think. Let's just try commenting that out. This one would be pose box structure with Prism session passed in, but we would have this as the body. Let's try that. Comment this. Oops. Comment that out. This would be similar. This would be pose box structure, Prism session. And this would be the content. This would be pose box structure, Prism session, empty box structure again. Let's see. try this.
Level. Stand in front of your phone so that your entire body is viewable. Remain in this spot for the remaining. Take a pose with your feet shoulder width apart and your arms extended out to your side. Spread your feet shoulder. Extend your arms out to your side. Extend your arms out. Move to the. Extend your arms out by your side and make a fist. Extend your arm. Extend your arms out to your side. 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 Spread your extend your arms out to your side. Extend your arms out by your side and make extend your arms out to your extend your arms out by extend your arms out to your side. Extend your arms out to your side. Move to the left. Extend your arms out to your
Okay.
position yourself in front of the camera.
Now, where did the sampling go? We had sampling somewhere. In this detection feedback. Move state and speech management out of pose assistant so that it is easier. also start the management of the suppose assistant state starting phase as well as the triggering of speech sync. Okay. What else do I got? There's the cutting off thing still happening. I thought it was tied to the sampling. It should still be tied to the sampling unless the sampling is not happening on... okay, sample. So the sampling happening on detection feedback. What is using detection feedback? Detection feedback distributor. Nothing? Sampled detection feedback. What? Detection feedback sample. Let's go look at this. This is the detection feedback distributor, which was doing that. And we just got rid of that because we are... Why did we add this before? We added this before to combine these things, but we're not combining these things anymore. And yeah. And so this takes detection feedback, whatever the combined version of this is, and samples it with 2.7 seconds. So let's go to pose state distributor. And the question is, where would we sample it? What we were sampling before was the detection feedback, which is the composite version of that. Okay. Which would be the result of the combine. But the result of the combine is that. So it would be before the distinct until. So if we added it here, any distinct between there would be dropped. I think that's my concern, is that it's going to give it the first one, which should be starting. Then 2.7 seconds later, it's allowed to have another one, which could be assisting. But then verifying consistency. But then verifying consistency.
Position yourself in front of the camera.
Let's think about this. So start happens. 2.7 seconds later, it can get whatever another thing is. Anything that happened in between there is dropped, effectively, which would be assisting or possibly verifying consistency in between there. And the problem with dropping afterwards is that we won't get another unique one.
Position yourself in front of the camera. Position yourself in front.
So we have to sample before we drop, before we distinct, I think. Because what is this squiggly? The declaration, oh yeah, opt-in for flow preview. Yeah. Because otherwise, this should let us see start. And then 2.7 seconds later, it would let us see assisting. And then let's say 2.7 seconds later, we see another assisting. 2.7 seconds later, we see another assisting. Then 2.7 seconds later, we see a verifying consistency. And then we're in the middle of verifying our consistency. And then we have our 2.7 seconds before we get anything else. And I think that is the problem. But let's give that a whirl anyways and see how, let's just see how the assisting feels and verify that that is a problem.
that your entire body is viewable. Position yourself in front of the camera. Your boot. Remain in this spot for the remainder of the body mapping session.
Okay.
Make a pose with your feet shoulder width apart and your arms
That
extended
sucks.
out to your side. Make a fist.
Should happen right away.
Extend your arms out to your side. Extend your arms out to your side.
That sucks.
Position yourself
It's not what we want. It's not what we want. Let's think about this. What do we really want a sample of? We really want a sample of we were using a sample. We're using 2 though. Then we had another one which was this unsampled version. Okay, let's fathom that we have a sampled version and an unsampled version of data. Let's say that we get both of them and combine them.
body should be in view. Position yourself in front of the camera.
And we have that data in here, and our logic in here. If we have both of those, is that helpful to us? Or is it that we need some additional timing? Because what it seems like what we're trying to do we want something else. We basically want some other filter on the end of this, which is we have distinct until changed, but we really want a flow function that drops only, we only want it to sample, we want some sampled, we want to conditionally sample. That is what we want. We want to conditionally sample. So we want something that is going to say, we want a sample, but we want to sample conditionally. flow commit custom sample. Kotlin flow implement operation asynchronous. Timeout or null. Timeout after. What is that? Kotlin with timeout or null. What is that? Suspend function. Runs a given suspend block of code inside coroutine with specified amount of time and returns null. This timeout was exceeded. Null is returned immediately. Inside the block is cancelled. The active. Nope, don't want that. Let's just write it. Let's just start to write it and we'll figure it out. Where did I do this? We did this somewhere. Yeah, this is a good example. Okay. So let's call this conditional sample. Okay. We're not going to have size. We're going to have a flow of t. It's still going to be a flow of t at the end of this. Oh no. Okay, and then we're going to have a, we're not going to have a transform because we're not transforming anything. We're going to have a bypass condition. Bypass condition, which is going to have an item of t and return a boolean, and
Your entire body should be in view.
yes, I know my entire body should be in view. What happened to my tunes, though? Let's, like, get some breakbeat going. Okay. So, we're going to want to do a collect in here instead of all of this shenanigans. We're going to want to implement our own sample. Can we see sample? If we could just go yank, is that sample? Okay, let's, yeah. Let's just copy this and see what we can get going. We'll call this. Oh, let's undo that. Undo that. Scoped flow. Cannot access scoped flow, it's internal. What is downstream supposed to be? Flow collector. Produce, capacity, channel conflated, collect. Fixed period ticker. What's a ticker? Obsolete coroutine. Ticker channels are not currently integrated with structured contention, and their API will change in the future. Well, that's not cool. What am I supposed to be using? Resulting channel is rendezvous channel. Receiver from the channel does not keep up with receiving the elements from this channel. They are not being sent due to back pressure. Actual timing behavior of ticker in this case is controlled by mode parameter. Flow timer. Kotlin flow timer. You kidding me? No. Thing. None of the code. Awesome. Let's build an interface. They Android devs are creators, so in order to respect the system and annotate everything with minimum errors and deviations, we should respect transfer the logic that Android SDK already contains. So let's first analyze it. Every time when we start the timer, we do the next things. Check that we have something to count down. If not, then we can just directly call on finish. Create a deadline field, stop time in future, which will be finished landmark for us. Send message to internal handler. Yes, the Android countdown timer uses the handler concept and sends message over some time period. So public synchronized final countdown start. Then we handle messages. Inventing our logic, let's just transfer it to our class. In the following snippet, just pay attention to tick method only. Rest methods are just until methods for the syntactic trigger. Okay. We have this for example. That's great. But this is probably not something we're going to just be able to use because of all the internals. Okay. Nor should we, it seems like. tickers are not supposed to be a thing now, it sounded like. Kotlin flow ticker. Basics of delaying emissions. Sometimes it's necessary to delay an action or slow the emission of it. This is where delay operator comes into play. Yeah, no, don't want to delay. Debouncing, ignoring rapid changes. Yep, and interval. Periodic updates with interval. What is interval? Android? Kotlin flow interval. Fixed rate timer. Creates a timer that executes the specified action periodically. After the specified initial delay. And with the interval of the period. Alright, let's just let's just see if we can just come up with something on our own. Okay. So, we would start this thing. We need some sort of state, which would be like, we need another value here, which would be like milliseconds. What is it? What is it in sample? What do they call it in sample? Period millis. Let's just call it the same thing. Period millis. Okay. And that is along. Okay, so we're going to give it a period in millis. Going to give it a bypass condition. And we are going to give it a sample function. Okay, and this needs to... Sure, can we even do that? That's a cool thing if we can do that. Require period millis greater than 0. Otherwise, sample period should be positive. Sure, that's cool. I will take that. And then we need something. We need to understand. We have period millis, but we need to also understand like a start time or something. Like somehow we need a start time. If we assume we have this, get it from somewhere, needs to be down to the milliseconds. So, okay, assuming we have that, for every time we collect, let's assume that we collect every time we collect it, which is t, think I figured out what we need to build to solve our complexities around sampling. I think what we need to do is implement a flow operation to conditionally sample. Basically, a version of the flow sample operation. I would also take a bypass condition evaluate if the event should be sampled or bypass the sampler. This would allow us, for example, in the case of the pose assistant, to have the pose assistant state assisting states be sampled, but have the oh no, that's not. We don't want to just conditionally sample based on that. We want to conditionally sample based on the previous one. This would allow, for example, in the case of the pose assistant, to have all of the pose assistant state samples be sampled, but have the pose assistant state validating consistency, not be sampled. Sampled after seeing if the previous one was validating consistency. Flow operation that is a conditional sample, but we also need the information of the last distributed value to be sent to the bypass conditioner. All right, it's about that time. I think we got some stuff figured out pretty good. I think I've figured out how we need to solve this. It's not just a conditional sample. It really needs to be a conditional, well, it is a conditional sample, but the conditional sample needs to take not just the item, it needs to be like, also take the previous item, which is also going to be of type T. Yeah, because it's not just that it's a conditional sample based for our needs. It's not just that it's based on what the current item is. Whether or not we want to bypass depends on the current item and the previous item. So we need to also track the previous item. So yeah, I don't know what we would call this other than a conditional sample. It's like a member conditional sample or something like that. All right. Anyways, it's time. It's late. I gotta go. It's Valentine's Day. Have a good one, y'all. Catch you next time.